So, the topic of this tutorial is still in this class is always about modeling. Our big topic today, our big topic of this case study is about representing modeling. So, what is the process of modeling? Modeling is to come up with a model. So model is what? Model is representation. Perwakilan. Perwakilan sesuatu reality. Reality apa? Reality kedai ni. That maps between price. Then we know profit. So what is the model that representing your performance in study? Thank you. CGPA model. CGPA model is representing your effort, subject, and grade. Output will be CGPA and GPA. Right? So a model represents many things. So if you go to clinic, doctor will tell me, Dr. Zakree, please stop eating. Because your obese now is almost 36. 36 tu apa? How about your obesity rate now? Dia pergi apa?
BMI.
BMI. Around 26 kan? Pada badan 26, 22 kan?
22.
Just nice. So numbers is a model. Hasil daripada modeling. Come out with 26. Giving a height, giving width, I get my BMI. I'm proud of it now. I'm the largest BMI in class. Just kidding. So now, all about DSS, all about when supporting decision, actually, we need to start with developing a model. Why? Because when you have a model, then you can play around with the parameter. Why want to play around with parameter? Because you want to understand which one is the most sensitive, which one is more important. For example, if I ask you to study, if you want to get 4 flat, let's say you have a 3-pointer and you want to get 3.5. So you can now know, as we play around with your CGPA, by assuming that you're taking let's say 6 subject for this semester, 6 times 3 is 18, right? Not 21. You know which one should be getting A, which one is A minus, and so on. You can simulate. Why you can simulate and predict your CGPA this semester? Because there are a model. Okay, a model that you know what will be the parameter, is the number of subject, the grade and so on. You just input to your calculate. You can calculate your CGPA for this semester, and you can predict it. So that's the point. This is the whole point about DSS, developing a model that it can be used in computer. Okay, everyone gets the gist about it, right? Any questions so far?
No.
No. Okay, it's a strong no. Now, how to develop a model? Okay, good. So the next question would be, in order to develop a model, we always start with what is the most important. For example, in CGPA, what is the most important?
Effort.
What do you want to know about CGPA? You know the goal first.
Oh.
You mean the results. In results, in CGPA, you want to know the grade. In this one, you want to know the
Price. Profit.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I say about results.
Oh.
What is the result that you want to see? You want to see, so this is the first variable. So actually, the first step in modeling is finding the variable. So you are given a case study. Also, in the final exam, you'll be given a case study. So when you are given a case study, first thing you need to find the variables. Find the variables. Dr. Zakree said, find the variables. The issue now is there are a lot of variables. Which one is the results? Okay. Now, the result will be the profit. Is that will be the another word called it objective function.
Okay.
Why do you call it objective function? You know what is a function in mathematics? The equation, right? It's a function. Any function.
Ada formula.
So another way to put it, if you don't know the function, what is the equation? Equation for what? Equation to calculate profit. So after you know the results, now comes the analytical. So remember, analytical comes from the word analysis. Analysis means that there's one big problem or one big engine or system that then you break down into pieces. So now you have profit here. So let's break down. Profit. Right. So this is your results. Analyze this. Means do analytic on this, develop an analytical model. So profit equal revenue minus cost. Okay. So whenever, what kind of problem, if you go into Petronas, they want to know where viscosity or something. Ask them, where can I get this viscosity equation? Google it. Google it, can get that equation. So from now that, you know that now the profit is equal revenue minus cost, break down the system, break down the equation. Now you go to revenue. How to calculate revenue? Now you know from the case study, demand
Times.
price.
Okay, betul.
Now it's done. Let's go to the second one. Cost equal, anyone?
Fixed cost. Plus dalam kurungan demand times
Filling cost.
filling plus floor plus processing.
This is for a month. This is a month. For a month cost. Now we already break down. We are analyzing. Okay? So analyzing it, break down from one, we break down into many pieces. Then later on when you understand, you do the synthesis. You can gather all and you understand the whole. Now you understand what's going on, how to get this profit, how. So let's go to the problem now actually is price is the decision variable.
Aku tengok kat sini je. Masuk lagi tahu yang mana.
How about demand?
Optimal price yang mana? Sini dua ni je.
Okay. So demand, we don't know what is the association, right? Because it is uncertain. Then I taught you how to develop the only diagram in DSS. So if you developing an IS, developing a MIS system, you need to know entity diagram, you need to know context diagram, you need to know data flow diagram. And if you are looking into object-oriented software engineering, you're going to develop based on UML, Unified Modeling Language. So a lot of language need to be trained, a lot of diagram need to be developed in order to represent process. So all that is a model too. It's a schematic model that represents process. But for my class, we don't need to understand process. You need to understand the model that represent or influence the profit, because we are talking about profit. So now profit When you already have this, you are halfway through.
Oh.
If you know that this equation, you are halfway through. The problem is to get the equation right. Okay? So, it's unlike the IS, the other developed IS, if you model the process wrong, what will happen to the system?
Inaccurate data.
Anyone? If you model the IS, for example, you are asked to develop a new system a new student information system, and you model it wrong. For example, the process is not right. What will happen to the results?
Incorrect. So.
Either incorrect or no output at all. Yeah, because you miss some process. For example, every exam need to be verified by the Liberty Registrar, and Registrar just looking where is my part to approve it, but the information never arrived to her or to his computer. So the output is missing. Why? Because you forget about one actor inside the system. So that is what IS. But in DSS, you want to understand what influence what. Okay. So now from here we know that revenue cost. Okay. So revenue is also by demand. Is influenced by cost. So now you know your profit, your organization depends too much on demand. But you also know now but the cost, if the cost is higher,
Demand gets lower.
we already discussed about correlation, right, in the last class. What is the correlation between cost and profit? Anyone?
Cost high, profit high.
So positive or negative?
Positive. Negative.
Okay.
Cost. Higher cost, lower profit.
The higher the cost, the lower the profit. The lower the cost, the higher the profit. Okay? It must be near to 1. The strength of the correlation between this one, so does revenue. The higher the revenue, okay? But sometimes also the revenue and the profit, sometimes the correlation might be almost 0. Why? If you cannot contain the cost. For example, you have a soccer team. You are best, right? Best forward. Salah, whatever you can name it is in front. But you have the defense from Malaysia. No matter how many Salah score, the same amount also you always also shot your own goal because you have a lousy defense. So that's the relationship between cost and revenue. So now you understand the main correlation. Okay, now. So that's the important thing of this influence diagram, because you can discuss and have a story about this. So now revenue also depend on price. So price is rectangle. So revenue, demand times price. But the demand here is intermediate variable between revenue and price, because the price will mean and demand become risk because we are not certain. Why is not certain? Why is not certain? It is not certain because you can see here the data is not complete. The data is not complete. Remember I told you in the last class. I'm not sure which class. What if, the question is, what if I put 2 ringgit 22 cents? This is 2 ringgit 20 cents. I said 2 ringgit 22 cents. For example, our brother here get 1 ringgit 85 cents. 1 ringgit 85 here. Okay? But what about 1.87 ringgit? Perhaps you get higher. Perhaps say, I already tested. But it is because this is just an exercise, so the number is between 0
2, 3.
to 2 ringgit 99 cents. Is it true? How about who's going to have the time to enter one by one? Until you grad, you still not finish test one by one. Yeah, if I prolong this decimal, you don't have the time to test one by one. So that's why we are relying on algorithm. What kind of algorithm? Or technique. So in solver, there are 3. GRG linear, simplex LP, linear programming, and evolutionary algorithm. That's going to do the search. Search for what? Search for the right number between 0 and 2.9999999. It will do it for you.
Oh.
Alright now.
Okay.
So now you understand now the price and demand. There's no mathematical that relates between price and demand. And therefore, what we need to do, we start using machine learning. So machine learning, but somebody say regression is statistic. Yes. Machine learning is the marriage of statistics, married computer science. Then you get machine learning. So don't brag to your friend who are studying statistics. Oh, machine learning is nothing to do with statistics. We are computer scientists, all of you are computer science, even though you are in IS, we owe so much to the people from the field of maths and statistics. If you meet your friend from statistics, do this. Because he can teach you a lot. But they also require you to do the programming. This is what they respect you, because you study everything. That is one thing about IT. We are so versatile that that's what everyone is. Okay? Alright, so now, kat mana yang tak faham?
Doctor,
Yeah.
if we do the computational model, does it involve the solver?
The final step will be solved.
Final step. So what is the computational model exactly? How do we do this?
This is a computational model. This is on paper.
Oh,
When you transfer it and transform it into Excel, it becomes a computational model.
oh,
So what is computational in Malay?
pengira.
Perkomputeran.
Oh,
What is perkomputeran? Pengiraan. Okay? So sempua yang Cina pakai tu, bukan. Itu komputer tu. Komputer tak tambah elektrik lah. That is computer. The earliest name for computer is sempua. Okay? So, apa yang kita faham daripada pembicaraan kita ni, every case study, every problem that require DSS begins with modeling. You cannot go straight. Okay, you cannot go straight towards computational model. Why? Because you are not the decision maker. Since you are not the decision maker, so you need to find a way to present. Yeah, boss, this is the model. Do you agree with this? This is the most important thing. Because when you are supporting decision, it means that decision is crucial, critical. And when they ask you to develop DSS, it means that it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. If you, for example, if you are computer science and you are a programmer and you develop a system, and somehow because of your errors in developing the simple calculation to help people design a building, and then let the building collapse, who's going to be the responsible? The engineer or you?
Engineer.
Both. The engineer mistake, he didn't check
properly.
your programming. They just trust you. I trust you, bro. We minum kopi setiap hari. We grad from the same, okay? We grad from the same university. We stay in the same dorm and so on. You just trust your friend. And then because of your simple program that calculate the density of a brick and so on, the building collapse after 5 years, not after 2-3 years, 5 years. You are enjoying somewhere in, somewhere in India, somewhere in UK, in Italy, you got a call. Right, you have to be summoned under the royal committee. Okay.
Tapi
Studying
kita
why
kena
the
guna software
building
lah.
collapse and kill. One people is enough to get in trouble. It's not just one people, a cat also will be in trouble. So this is how serious about developing the system. I'm warning you.
Macam doktor kata.
I'm not a warning, I'm reminding you.
Tak payah letak
As a
konsep
student of UCAN,
sebab dia
I don't want your name to be appear in front of the page in the newspaper. So developing a system, especially a DSS, is crucial. You need to check. That's why I said DSS need to be developed in a team. You need somebody to check your equation. That's why I asked you to develop, to study and to develop in a group. The other person, if this is wrong, totally everybody single in the group would be wrong. Why? You don't check. Okay? You are no longer in matriculation, you are no longer in school. This is your finest place before you go to intern and start dealing with millions. They hire you because they trust you. Remember that. They trust you. They believe that you'll be educated by the best university. Okay? So currently, our AI and our data science program in this university is ranked 65 in the world. Okay? You should probably, so sooner or later somebody will catch up. You can see the decline, not because we're not really good. Somebody will try to be better than us. That is normal.
boleh flex ni.
Okay, that's normal. Till today, we try to be UM until we are run out of breath. Never mind about that. So that's the important thing about understanding. I hope this today tutorial that you put in your mind about the difference between developing an MIS and DSS. So DSS, why you need DSS? Because there are uncertainty. There are something that they are looking from you in order to overcome the uncertainty. And the uncertainty can be overcome by using a machine learning. And machine learning is the marriage of statistics and computer science. Okay, now. Ada soalan lain? Tak faham cakap tak faham. Tapi kena cakap kat mana yang tak faham. Okay tak? So no problem to come up with this. So remember, it's just the k-bar equation. Find the variable. The first variable you need to find is the result variable. So the second one is the decision variable. Decision variable here is the price.
Price decision variable, okay. Price decision variable.
Okay. In this problem that you met in my class, this is the most simplest problem. Why? Because the decision variable is just one. The objective is also one. So it's a single objective, single decision problem. But telling you the truth, out there, most of them are multi-objective. It means that it's not just profit. You need to look into, for example,
So demand ni akan jadi
something to do with SDG, sustainable development goal. Okay, you need to look into it. It becomes two objective. So how to convert it later on? We have time. But most important thing is to understand the concept. The concept of the DSS is based on model. If you can able the model, half of the problem is solved. So the second problem now is to transfer this into computer. So the best, the cheapest, the fastest is Excel. Because why? Because this system is a throwaway system. DSS is a throwaway system. After we have decided, we discard the system. We're not going to use it again. Okay, now come to the questions. How to develop the system?
Doctor,
Yep.
so let's say I'm using the solver to solve this.
Uh-huh.
So the objective function is profit. The variables, decision variables, is the price. So how do we put inside the constraints for it?
Easy. Let me do this first. Okay, now price, demand. Okay. What I call it? Fixed cost, so I'm running out of time, so that's why this is just not the total answer, it's just an example here. Okay? So now the next step actually is to compute this one. So for example, demand you don't know, so the revenue is this one time demand. So let's say 2 ringgit, just put it here. Demand, let's say 200, just to test. Okay, so fixed cost, let's say is 400. So cost, so I just put it here. For example, other cost would be, let's say 400. Is it? Oh, other cost is depends on this one. Other cost. Let's say 3 ringgit. Sorry, 70 cents right, actually around here.
The filling, for the processing, right? For the filling is
10 cents plus.
10 cents, 30 cents, plus 38 cents.
So let's say 75 cents. Okay, so the total cost would be fixed cost plus demand plus times other costs.
Okay,
So profit will be
total cost minus
revenue minus,
total cost.
so now it's negative, right?
Okay,
So this is just a play around, dia bukan yang exact, dia bukan jawapan sebenar, we don't have time. So now the issue now, as you can see that demand is uncertain.
okay,
Yeah, demand is uncertain. So how to find demand? So now I delete demand because this is not correct, and just an example. So now I'm going to develop machine learning using mana bahasa pengakian itu. So I include a scatter plot here. So you can see this is data point. So every data point here, no matter what the data, you need to see the distribution. So distribution can be linear, straight line, okay. It can be a polynomial, gelung sikit. It can be power and so on. So ada banyak. So your job as an analyst is to find the best model that fit your distribution. Why? Because we want to find a representation, because we want to know the unseen data. Where's the unseen data here? This is the seen data, the known data. The issue now is the unseen data. The unseen data is between this.
the in-betweens.
In between, we don't know. So now we present, we click and right click,
Trend line.
add trend line. See, it's not exponential. So linear, if you want to know which one the best, display the R squared and also display the equation. So the best R squared which is near to 1, but not 1. Not 1 means it is too perfect, it's overfitting. Okay? Overfitting, it's not really good. Statisticians also don't like that. Try to find between 0.95 and above. You cannot just accept whatever you have. So now you have a representation here. This is the model. If you want to choose linear, okay. So in this one, demand is Y. X is the price. So to calculate the demand, equal negative 4.1007 times the price, right? Plus 13.155. So let's say just remove this 200. Betul ke ni? Betul lah. Forget something. Times 1000. Baru betul. Okay. Tak faham, tak tangan? Any question before I move? Okay, like I said, if you want to try, how about 0.2 cent? Negative. RM1 lah. Oh, baru start untung. RM1 baru ada untung.
Okay.
So, RM1, 23.45 sen. Is take your time. So now we go to data. Mana dia punya?
Dia kena add doktor.
Oh, tak add lagi aku ni. So how to add? File, option.
Add.
Yes, good. Add means
Go bawah tu. Tepi tu. Go tekan go tu doktor. Button go bawah tu.
solver.
Up. Go.
Solver in. Okay, it's here. Now click solver. Or the objective function. Profit. Thank you. To max. Okay. To max by changing variable.
Price.
Thank you. Price. Now subject to constraints. So the constraint now. Okay. Add. The price should be less than 3. Add. Again. The price
3. Oh.
Add. Any other constraint? Any other constraints? So let's say simple as LLP, try solve.
Not satisfied.
Okay, cannot solve by LP. Ataupun kosong dulu ke? Right?
Yang second constraint tu apa? Oh, 0.01. Kita macam ni juga. What range lah?
So that will be the answer. Tapi takkan nak jual RM1.97 kot, mengarut lah. RM2 tu murah. Tapi tengok apa jadi pada RM2.
Dia berubah.
Ya, 593 593. You rugi RM1. Sebab demand dia akan turun sikit. Sebab that's why people, you can see kedai RM1.99. It's just a psychology je. So might as well kalau ada makcik jual RM1.97, dia makcik pakai Excel ke? Tiba RM1.97. Oh, I don't accept cash, makcik dia cakap. I don't accept QR. No wonder lah, sebab dia nak. This is a psychology price. RM1.99, RM2.99, $2.99. Sorry, $300 actually. Okay. But the problem now, you see here, the fixed cost here, the way you calculate total, other cost here, actually other cost actually is like, H5, H8.
Kenapa macam tu? Kenapa tak jadi? Other cost darab punya demand.
Okay. So this is the actual cost mathematically. Yeah. This is our actual cost calculated by mathematics. So you can see now, if the demand is 5,076, the other cost filling is around 3,807. Okay. So let's say this, because this number is not correct, it just bantai je kat sini kan. But you can see now,
Ini dia terusnya.
if it's 5,000, the demand is 5,000, is around the processing cost actually is around 1.7 thousand. Okay, so how can it be? It is because perhaps there are certain factor that we don't know. It's always uncertain. So if you want to represent this one, the demand, the other cost with this also can. So you just develop, insert it again. So simple. Now it's not nice. 0.8 not nice. But I don't want to waste time, because if I use log, it will be a different equation. Just let's say I just follow this linear. Okay, actually I think if you look into this pattern, the best would be polynomial, right? So now I accept this one. So I will represent the other cost. $0.8745 times price. No, demand. Minus 1.7 Okay. So this one is. Okay. Now go back to solver. I will run again. So now it's 1.97. Now it's 2.04. So what we can learn from this one actually, whether this is the optimal. So based on the model, this is the optimal, this is what the algorithm found. But what really important is to understand whether our model is correct. First, we are using two regression models to represent between the number of demand, the number of career path, and its relationship with the actual cost. The second is the number of demand and its relation to the price. So these two are, there are two uncertainty variable, okay, that is representing by a regression. So we have two machine learning model and a number of analytical model. So that is where, if you can see now, why machine learning is important. Okay, why machine learning is important and how to connect between information system and AI in the context of your program, in the context of your field. Okay? So now at least you see a glimpse about how and what AI can do for organization. It deals with the uncertainty, where data is not enough, the data is not complete. Same goes, whatever you see in an AI application, that's why I require AI, for example Siri, because we cannot simply develop a system that can, and you program every possible, respond. Okay, you cannot code every single possible response to a question. And because they are uncertain how to respond, we rely on AI. Okay, now, I hope now you understand the whole process from the beginning, from the problem, modeling, transform the model into Excel, and how, okay, you are using, actually there are three analytics here. The first is descriptive. Second, predictive. And the third is prescriptive. Anyone can point to me, where is the predictive? In this case, where is the predictive model? Analytics, there are four types, basically, four types of analytics. Start with descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive. So in this case study, you done three analytics. Okay? So the first, descriptive. So the descriptive, even though we don't do descriptive, but you can know that the data here is logic. There's no outlier. Okay? You can see there's a nice pattern. Okay? The nice pattern. For example, let's say I change here from 12, also from 11 to 11.5 here to 34. What's going on here? If this case happens, what are you going to do? You cannot ignore, delete. Ignore, dia ada kat situ tapi kau ignore dia. Itu mana ignore? Delete, remove the outlier. Delete. Okay? So this is the first thing that you do, but you don't realize it. Is to remove outlier so that the data can be represented by any regression model nicely. So in data science, yes, you can remove outlier because you say it doesn't happen a lot. It's not typo, but it happens. For example, Dr. Mahathir still live till today. Rare. But you cannot delete him. Dr. Mahathir, you are so rare, so we're going to delete from the list of our citizens. No, you cannot. You are part of Lazada and Shopee. You need to take care of him. Okay, even he's old. But sometimes in modeling, for example, you want to see prediction something, you need to remove Dr. Mahathir because he's rare. So this is one thing that you are allowed to do in modeling. You can assume something. So that is the first type, descriptive. You feel, okay, the line is okay, I think there's no outlier, the practice is just nice. You accept. Second, you do predictive. Where's the predictive? This is the predictive. Okay. After the predictive, you want to know the solution, the optimal price. You do prescriptive. Where the prescriptive, Prof? Here.
Solver.
What is the algorithm? GRG nonlinear. Can we use evolutionary? Yes, of course. But it takes some time. Because first, my computer, you can see here. Sub-problem, try solution. I will explain to you how this evolutionary works later on, if you have time in your class. But that's why I will not use evolutionary, because my computer here is very old. This is my computer given to my daughter for her matrix. Now she is graduated. She passed back this computer to me. And she has her own new computer given by the company. How to stop this? So you will see what happening when the computer is slow. You can see now the computer is looking for solution. Alhamdulillah. Balik.
Belakang graf.
Oh, saya
Belakang graf.
still 2.041. Okay, so for this assignment, try to learn, try to mimic the process from your friend. It's not about the answer, it's about you know and understand the process. Okay, if you miss the steps and you miss the opportunity to learn, nobody's going to help you during the exam if this type of questions pop up. Of course, you can search, you can do video YouTube, but remember, you only have 1.5 hours. It's going to test your skill. So remember this. Okay. So let's say go to Rapid Miner now. So by looking into your Okay, let's go this next tutorial. So, what you should understand now, sometimes in order to find a solution, if the problem is prescription problem, you require sometimes predictive and descriptive. So predictive, sometimes we require prescriptive in order to optimize the parameter of the predictive modeling, but that's the second step. So now let's look into the CRISDM, the cross industry standard for data mining. I hope I do have somewhere.
269 value.
Okay, so one thing about data mining and predictive analytics, it depends on who you're working with. So if you are required to develop a DSS, you start with analytical model first. But sometimes, because you are junior analyst, they will develop the analytical by the senior. So sometimes they just require you, hey, can you do a predictive modeling? So you don't need to develop the analytical model. You just go straight away to develop the machine learning model, just like what you do with the regression. So in this case, you can see now, before you can develop the model, this is the standard steps, standard methodology in developing a predictive model. It's called a cross-industry process for data mining. Okay, cross-industry standard process for data mining. So this is the common standard, the common methodology. So remember this during your interview. So what is your methodology for doing data mining? CRISDM. Okay, do not answer what is asking. What you already in my class. You should remember CRISDM. So CRISDM first, in order to develop the data the prediction model, it starts with business understanding, and then go to data understanding. Okay, now let's look into business understanding. So churn modeling. Okay, so we are going to learn about predictive analytics using RapidMiner. So this is the cross-industry standard. So it starts with business understanding, okay, or understanding the problem. So the standing problem is about churn analysis. So what is churn analysis? Churn is defined as about the customer that leave your company, the customer that leave your services and go to your rival. Okay, for example, you are working with Shopee, some customer leave Shopee and go to Lazada. But we know that all the customers have these two accounts, Lazada or Shopee, doesn't matter. But if you want to know, the cost for customer acquisition is higher than customer retention. And that's why you can see Petronas with Mesra, right? Paxson with bonus link, Shell bonus link, Caltex have its own loyalty program. What are the loyalty program that you know? Okay, ladies, of course, Watson. If you want to know whether they have the ladies, the customer, sorry, the sales, the cashier will ask, your phone number, sir. Why are they asking for your phone number? Because to collect point. So what are you going to do with the point? Later on, you're going to have voucher. Okay, voucher and so on and so on, free gift and so on. So come to your mind, why they are giving you this? Because to stop you from churn. Because you are collecting point, instead of going to Watson And the other one, oh, next year another shop appear beside Watson. What's the name? What's the Reverend Watson?
Guardian.
Yeah, sebelah-sebelah aja. So you have to decide, kalau pergi sini murah sikit, tapi I'm collecting point. Okay. So why? Because retention cost, okay, is lower than customer acquisition. Marketing, you know, is higher. So this is the definition. So customer churn is when an existing customer, user, player, subscriber, or any kind of return client stops doing business or ends the relationship with a company. Right? Just want to share your experience. I haven't shopped Shopee around more than 4 months, I think. The last time I bought something. And suddenly I bought something from Shopee, I get 10% discount. As a welcome back, I'm surprised. Okay, 4 months not doing business with Shopee. When I start buying something, Shopee give me 10% discount, and the 10% is just £4, I think. It was okay lah. Right. So we're going to next time. We're going to do churn analysis. Okay. So churn analysis is part of the business understanding. Well, we're going to convert structured and unstructured data information into meaningful insights. So you're going to utilize these insights to predict customers who are likely to churn. So data is given into your UKM folio. So there's the current data that you have for our exercise. So there is one column called churn date. Okay, churn date. So those customers with churn date, it means that they already bye-bye. They left the company, left your company. And those with missing value, it means they are still loyal. So we're going to learn from this data in predicting and come up with a model who's going to churn next. So this is the plan, the steps. Now we are in the business understanding. So now I hope everyone understands the business. Now you can see what will be the result variable. The result variable will be less people leaving. Why? Because you already identified them. So what we can do when we identify who's going to churn? Anyone? Call them? Right. Hello, Dr. Zakree. I haven't seen you in online for many months. What happened? I don't have money. Okay, we have discount for you. Start talk nicely. They can call you because they don't need to call 1,000 people. You already selected, and they reduce the cost. They don't need to call everyone because they already predict you are going to churn. So we're going to prepare the data. We have the raw data now, right? Then the next after data understanding is data preparation, right? So 70% or 60% to 70% of the time in developing a predictive model, you spend on preparation data, in preparing the data, most of the time. Because with RapidMiner, when the data is prepared, you just click one button. Less than 0.0001 second, you get the results. So the issue now actually is to get, data preparation is so important because it influences the accuracy of your models, right? So we do a machine learning algorithm, learn from the prepared data. Now we don't call it prepared data, now we call it example. The data that you have actually is a historical example that the machine learning going to learn. To learn to identify who's going to churn, who's going loyal. Right? So this is the cases. So the machine learning model actually is just a function, a mathematical function that maps between the inputs and the outputs. In order to map it correctly, it needs a good data. So machine learning algorithm is just your young kid, your young brother, your young sister. Standard 1, Standard 2, still learning. If you are a good teacher, you give good examples, she's going to score A in your mathematics. Okay? If they score C minus D, your parent will going to ask you, what happened? Oh, actually I thought the exam is going to just on multiplication. I forgot to teach her subtraction. So you forgot to teach your sister or your brother subtraction and you got D. Why? Because the example that you give and ask them to train is not complete. That's why your sister got D minus. So the same analogy happens for machine learning. The data need to be hopefully complete and cover all possible scenarios so that the machine learning can learn. Okay? So why I'm saying this? Because you need to check in data preparation whether the data is balanced or not. The data cover all the possible or not. So when we have learning the model, we test the model with this, we're going to split the data into 80-20 or 70-30. So we're going to test the model with the balance of 30% that have not been tested, not been learned yet, and try to classify it. And the final model we're going to be use it to predict the existing data. Okay, now 20 minutes. Oops, not this one. Okay, if you're going to take this course and register outside of UKM, it's going to cost you for 3 days around perhaps now around 3,000 to 6,000 ringgit per person. Okay, and if you want to buy this one, so I'm not playing around, we are not playing around here. What you see here is the only tools for free for education purposes, and you have on your hand on 7,000. Let's say lah kita ambil yang paling cikai sekali dekat 7,500 times 5 please. Okay, now, so what you have in your hand actually is a very powerful tool and it's a very expensive one. So that's why I insist on you to learn on Excel, because if you do Excel, if you don't have time, your company is small, you don't have the money to buy, so we can depend on Excel. Excel also can do certain machine learning process. If you have time, we will discuss about it. Okay, now, so this is your desktop. So you can see there is 5 tab here. Repository, operator, on the middle is process, on the right is parameter, and on your here is help. Help is important. Okay. So this repository, okay, is like your window browser, where you manage your files. You can delete, you can create your repository, and you can create subfolder. So I have very churn here. So let's say you can create a repository, don't worry. If you mistake, you can delete it. So churn May 2024. This is mine. You can give your own name. Okay, use default location and you click finish. So this is empty right now, right? So this is our now churn May 24. So now I want you to right click or double click on this one, and you can create subfolders. So it is a best practice that you create at least 3 subfolders so to manage your files later on. The first one I will call it process. Okay. The second subfolder, I will call it raw data. And and create another subfolder called process data. Must we create all the subfolder? No, you can just use the repository, but it's just like your Windows Explorer, right? You want to easily to manage, easy to find, we create a lot of things. Okay, now, so on the middle here is the process. So this process is just like a canvas where you do your visual programming. So RapidMiner actually is a visual programming environment. Okay, visual programming, because sometimes you need to do some coding here inside there. Okay, so on the left down under the repository is another tab called operator. So this operator is where is the instruction that you put into your canvas. For example, now bring in read, type read. Okay, so now double click on read Excel, or you can just drag. It's a drag and drop. Okay, now you have your first operator here. So your first operator here is called read Excel. So read Excel here, when you click on an operator, you will find that the parameter beside on your right side here will containing all the parameter for this operator. So let's say I bring another one, read URL. Okay, now when I click read URL, the parameter here will contain all the parameter for the URL, the column spread and so on. Also the help here. So if you want to know better about the operator that you click, you look into help. So this help and parameter will represent whatever that you want to click. So let's see the example. So if you don't want any operator, so because when you click run in order to execute a program, they will give you an error pop-up window because they are unused, okay, operators. So you need to either disable it by Ctrl E, or you can double click and delete. Okay, now, so I hope you already download your L1 customer data from the UK Folio on your desktop. Have you? Okay, now let's extract the data from the Excel. So now in order to do that, the first thing you need to do is, you can see that on the operator there are two nodes. This one is called output node. This one is called file node. So from the output node, click and drag and link into the right wall here, called the result node. Okay. Now in the read Excel, let's do some import configuration wizard. Search for your file. Mine, I put it on desktop, called L1 customer data. I found it, I click, and I click next. Anyone? I'm still here. I'm still on search for the L1. Nobody's left behind, I hope. Okay. Lain kali duduk depan-depan. Kosong banyak ni ha. So I click next, yeah? Can I click next? Okay, now you can see now automatically the RapidMiner identify that the data contains from column A to column H. Okay, if you are satisfied with that, no problem. Now define header row. Yes, there is a header row here. If you unclick this, it will take postal code as a data or the example. So you're not going to do that. So we click define header row. Now if you're satisfied with this, let's go to next. Okay. Remember in the lecture, I asked you to be careful with the data type. Right? So at this wizard, you check the data type carefully. We have discussed about postcode, the importance of postcode, phone number, not to be labeled as integer, or else RapidMiner or any other program will treat it as numeric and allow numerical operation. So you don't want it to happen. So postal code, I will change it to polynomial. Hash code is only polynomial. Find each integer. Find gender polynomial. Huh? How come? Oh, see, there's an error here, madly. So never mind, put it as polynomial. Payment method, polynomial, row number, churn date, last transaction date, time, and so on. So this is only about 11, right? 11, something 11 attributes. So just imagine you have hundreds of attributes you need to check one by one. So can I click finish? All right. So now click run. So you have successfully read. You can see now the data is 1000 example. All right? Okay, click this you see on top of your screen, this is design. Click back on design. Click back on design and look into your repository. Your repository is still empty. So what happened here? You only instruct RapidMiner to read, not store. So bring in another operator called store. Okay. So how to link? The easiest way is you bring this operator and put it on top of this linkage. Automatically we do the linkage. Remember, each operator need to be set up. The parameter need to be set up. So click on store, click on this button, tell RapidMiner where you want to store this raw data. So I'm going to churn May 24. I will put it in raw data and I will call it raw customer data. And we click OK. Remember, when you click OK on the setting, it doesn't mean it execute. You need to run. Nanti, betul, nothing happened. Of course, you haven't run. Run, execute. Okay? Run. Anyone miss? Anyone want to repeat? So sometimes you feel that the store is connected. You need to check. Sometimes it's just an illusion. You don't you notice it. So if you test it, whether the connection it happens. So why there's a flow? Because you need to put it in the flow. It's like programming. You need to tell one by one what it needs to do. Okay, 7 minutes. All right, good. Very easy, right? Okay, now next. So now you already, what you did is now you read and store successfully. You can see that in your repository there is a raw customer data here. So now you already understand the business. So go back to the CrisDM process. Now next is to understand the data. Understand data. One of the steps basically is to describe the data. So remember, Descriptive is important to understand whether there is an error in the data. So double click raw customer data. Okay, now you know there is a 1000 example. Now on your left side, on the pane, click statistics. So anyone, please analyze your data and tell me what error that you can find in the data.
Punya previous postal code bukan polynomial.
Anyone can find any error?
Age dengan gender.
Okay, first we found that age. Okay, there are one missing value, the first problem, one missing value. Second, you can see that the min and max, this is descriptive, yeah? There are 2 years old, a toddler is shopping with you, a baby is shopping with you, and somebody older than 200 is also doing shopping with you. So if you to find more, and this is the average, and this is the deviation. Quite acceptable. So if you want to know, sometimes also open visualization, you can click. And then the histogram, you change to scatter. So this stuff is what we call visual analytics. So this is part of the descriptive analytics. So in visual analytics, one of the tasks that you need to see is to understand the pattern. The pattern is quite nice, only that there are 2 outliers here. This one and this one. So this is the second problem. Either we want to replace, you want to remove or replace, there are 2 options that you have here. We're going to discuss this later. Now there's 1, 2, second problem. Go back to statistics. Any other error?
Gender.
Gender, thank you. So gender, we have 1 missing value, the third problem, and we have 4 types of gender. So if you want to see how severe the problem is, you click on details. Wow, monthly is a male for German. It's male for German. 51%. Okay, of the fraction, 51. No, sorry, it's not 51, it's 5%. Okay, and Biblic also is around 4%, 4.5% too. So we're going to replace this in part of the data preparation. Any other error?
No. Postcode yang tu je. Yup.
Okay. So remember now, we are going to do prediction. If you remember my notes, and my mistake, I haven't uploaded the notes if I'm not mistaken. That's my data. Yeah, my bad. Okay, the data that if you remember about the types of prediction, there are 2 types of prediction. First is called classification, the second is called regression. Okay? Regression, we try to predict on continuous number, like numerics. Classification is when we try to predict nominal values. So remember what is nominal values? Give me some example nominal values. Gender. So in this case, the nominal values is?
Gender.
Churn, we are predicting churn. Can you see any class called churn?
Churn date.
You cannot predict date. So this data is incomplete. So it means that we need to we have to do some process called